Hey everybody, Chris here. Thanks for downloading this episode of Fortune Comic News. Just a quick reminder, if you want to go that extra mile, go to patreon.com/Fortune Comic News where you can get the amazing Mike and that guy Chris show. $4 a month, that's 4 episodes, $4, that's $1 an episode. That's awesome. More content from us, and we appreciate you for doing it. Also, at $2 a month, you can get the Bat Friends podcast 3 days earlier than everybody else. That means you can be ahead of everybody on that one. But if you don't want to, that's fine. We still appreciate you listening. And if you could, go to your iTunes or whatever podcatcher you use, give us a 5-star review and leave us a review. It means so much to us. We appreciate everybody for listening, for reviewing, and all that. So I won't take any more of your time. On to the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fortress of Comic News, episode 144. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside the number one horror fanboy, Mike.
Hey, it's me. Yeah, get into the new year, into the end of the year. Gonna be some awards that will be given out soon because our awards have so much weight to them.
Prestigious, the most prestigious of all the awards.
Our awards are the best awards. There's a lot of awards out there, but ours are the best. Nobody else matters but us. Fortress Comic News.
I think it's pretty easy to guess what my top 5 movies are going to be this year.
The only 5 you watched.
Superhero, Star
Wars.
Superhero.
They conveniently put Star Wars before the end of the year just to do that. Yeah, no interview today. Just gonna talk some stuff. We pretty much have an interview to talk about today because we Crisis Part 1 through 3 hit us. Holy crap! Gonna be talking about that, all that comic book stuff. Watchmen got pretty crazy. Everything's just getting crazy out there. All these shows are just like, man, just when I thought I found my favorite show to watch, all these other shows come by and
It's just crazy.
And because everybody's so interested in this, I'm almost done with The Irishman. I'm now watching it in my 5th installment. I'm on like part 5. It's I got the last 30 minutes. It's a really good. I had a really good stopping point. I said, okay, this is probably enough for. It was like, I don't know, past midnight last night. I'm like, I could finish this, but I'm not going to. Yeah. So maybe I'll have it finished next time. Who knows? It's a commitment, man. Just sit there for 3.5 hours, like.
Yeah, I mean, Watchmen. I was willing to do it, but
right.
No.
But for all this, like, yeah, I don't know. That's a lot of hours of Robert De Niro talking to Joe Pesci. It's like, all right, I need to take breaks. Anyways,
hot take. I was never a big fan of those movies, like the
Godfather and
Goodfellas. Like,
yeah,
I've watched chunks of them, just could never get into them. Taking nothing away from them, just not from me.
Yeah. Well, I'm in that same boat, so. It's a slow burn.
None of superheroes are lightsabers.
Yeah, right. Anyways, I guess we'll jump into the... Speaking of lightsabers, wow. There's a rumor mill. Dr. Aphra is going to be Disney Plus' next Star Wars show. Ooh, what do you think about that?
That would be really cool. Of course, people probably know how much I love Dr. Aphra as a character, and I think it's a cool idea. It's a comic created character. It's a fan favorite character. There's just so much to like in this idea, so I hope it's real. Like I said, it's just a rumor.
I know nothing about Dr. Aphra.
The only confusing part is the fact that would be next on the slate as proposed to like the Obi-Wan we've been hearing so much about and some of the others. So but I'm down for it. People love it. It's basically Indiana Jones in Star Wars. She's a archaeologist who gets caught up doing the wrong thing all the time and ends up working for Vader at one point. She's a good character and has some cool stories. So
cool. yeah, it's like, man, they just couldn't. They just can't. I don't know if they're waiting for Obi-Wan to get older or like the actor to get older. It's like he doesn't actually need to be the same age as Alec Guinness before he does the show. Like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But speaking of Disney Plus and Star Wars, did you watch Mandalorian episode 6?
I did, and was immediately taken out by the fact that Bill Burr was in it.
Yeah, didn't even realize that. Had no idea.
And the guy from, I don't even know the actor's name, but the guy from Sons of Anarchy's in it.
Yeah, the dude from Sons of Anarchy. He's like a mechanic, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, maybe this is just he just went to space.
So, but joking aside, I thought they both played interesting characters, and it was a decent story.
It was a heist.
Episodes. Yeah, it was like my least favorite. It was like I'm out of money and I need to take a job, and of course the job goes wrong. So
they wanted to do a heist episode. It was like the Ocean's 11.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously trying to go with the tropes of spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
So this was one of the ones they had to do along the way. Not a bad episode, just probably my least favorite because it did very little for the progression of the immediate story.
I did like
tell a little bit about his past, though.
I did like the familiar aliens that we see though that like were part of the story now, like the Red Devil guy. I remember we see someone like that in the original Cantina shot. Someone just kind of sitting there, like his eyes going back and forth. So like we see that race, and we see the blue people with the long like antenna things. I don't even know what they're called, but it's just funny to see like, you know, casually like, yeah, we dated once, and they're just like a completely different than humans. You know what I mean? So we're starting to get a lot more alien races involved, which is cool.
Yeah, and the mention of Gungans.
Oh yeah, the Gungan joke. Yeah. Bill Burr delivered that pretty great.
All joking aside, though, I thought Bill Burr did a really good job.
His character was really cool with all the guns he had.
Yeah, he had a cool character. He had, he delivered lines very well, and he did a really good job of like delivering the jokes and not like taking you completely out of the moment. So
yeah, I thought he was great. Watchmen talk. Holy crap. Where to begin about this episode 8? And spoilers for Watchmen, but I didn't. So first off, this episode is like it's taking all this taking place at the same time because that's the way that Dr. Manhattan kind of observes time is happening all at once. So he's meeting Sister Night for the first time, and he's also with her when he's woken up by her, and like we see him go to Ozymandias. Why he doesn't remember anything? He creates a device to make him a human because he's supposed to. He knows that he's eventually going to fall in love with Sister Night, and so we see that meeting. We see them like throughout their life. Why he chooses to just become a normal human that doesn't remember anything. The body she picked just ended up being a dead guy's body in a morgue, which is crazy. Yeah, the story is so great, and then we find out that the 7th Cavalry, which is kind of interesting too. So I mean, it's all really falling into place that like the white supremacists or neo-Nazis believe in like the ultimate human being. So that's pretty much the reason I think they're seeking Dr. Manhattan and trying to replicate his powers, because he's like the ultimate being, right? He's the paragon of a human. And that's what they're after, the master race, pretty much. So at the end of the episode, we see him get vaporized, or so we think, by the 7th Cavalry. And there's some interesting stuff going on, though, because in the middle of the episode, we find out that Sister Night is the one who created the whole thought process for her grandfather to kill the chief of police. So remember, the guy who strung with the chief of police is a great grandfather. So the way it's interesting to think that Dr. Manhattan could observe time at the same time. So he creates a paradox himself where Sister Night is telling him something in the future, and then he has that conversation, relays that message to the grandfather in the past, which creates a skip or and she says, why did you know, or how did you know my, what's his name had a Klan's robe in his closet? And he goes, who is that? And so he will commit the rest of his life to figuring out who that is. and investigating it. So it's like, and then he talks about the chicken and the egg, and it's like, oh man, this show just got crazy. He's like, I don't know.
This whole episode was, well, first it proves the great and powerful Alan Moore wrong, but it's an entire episode based around the idea of how Manhattan perceives time.
Yeah.
So, like you said, everything's going on at the same time, but at different times, and it really does a great job of showing you how he observes time and how it affects his movements moving forward. And I say it proves Alan Moore wrong because that was something Alan Moore said could never be done outside of a comic book. Nothing against Alan Moore. I absolutely love Alan Moore, but so that I thought it succeeded really well in that, and then at the same time giving us kind of all the information that's been leading up to this moment. So why he doesn't remember who he is, how he meets up with her in the beginning, and how Ozymandias ends up in the moon of Saturn.
Right.
And all these different plot lines led to this moment, and they just did an amazing job of showing you who Manhattan is, his power set, how he perceives time, and yet answering all these questions at the same time. So just, a fantastic episode. And then did you see that there was an after credits stinger?
No, I didn't see it. What was it?
So after the credits, we see Ozymandias, after the trial, having all of his servants smash tomatoes in his face, and then he's in jail and is talking with the guard who has the guy who's walking or running around in the horse with the mask on, and they give him a birthday cake like they did in the first couple episodes, and he ends up finding out that one of his servants left something in there for him to try to escape. So it's kind of a prelude to what's going to happen next in this week's episode, but yeah, amazing episode. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it is so good. And then we get 3 more episodes to watch this week. The Crisis, part 1 through 3. And of course, part 4 won't happen until after, and not till like January 16th or something like that, which is ridiculous. I don't know where to even start. I mean, I think really the main difference, compared to, and I've talked about this with some friends, compared to the last crossover, is every episode, it's more like a movie that's just pieced together. It's not specific to each episode that you're doing. Like the Arrow one isn't specific to Arrow, and the Supergirl one isn't all like Supergirl characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which I liked a lot more than I've done in the past. Yeah,
me too. Like I'm fine not having Jimmy Olsen and everything hanging around all episode. But man, I mean, where to even start? We see the Smallville. We got Kevin Conroy is the old Batman that pretty much killed Superman, wearing an exoskeleton. But basically, the story is they need to find the 5 Paragons to save the universe from Crisis, and the 5 Paragons are, lo and behold, like the main characters from every show. What do you have? The 2 Supermen, the Kingdom Come Superman, or Supergirl, Batwoman, Flash, and then the 3rd episode, they find out Ryan Choi is one, so we get to meet him finally, which is pretty cool. Ryan Choi is the next person that takes up the mantle of the Atom, so maybe that's what's going to be happening. Like he's going to take over when Ray Palmer. I don't know if we'll see what happens with Ray Palmer, but maybe we'll get an Atom TV show. Now that would be sick. We find out the Black Lightning universe dies. So I don't know if they're going to stick with that, but that's pretty crazy. They like show him up. They bring him to where the cosmic treadmill is and stuff. We see the cosmic treadmill. So many crazy things happening. Like it's so good too. There's so much fan service. I heard there was a Watchmen Easter egg in the 3rd episode. I couldn't find it though. One of the billboards. Yeah. What are your thoughts so far?
So far, I've enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't really enjoy is the kind of the B plot of Oliver dying.
Yeah.
And then him like bringing him back. But where it ended off, because they end up meeting up with Constantine, who then takes them to Lucifer's universe, who then gives them a trip to Purgatory, and and so they meet Oliver in Purgatory, and he becomes the Spectre. Or so we're led to believe. So, I mean, that story, other than the ending, I was kind of off on, but I did. I enjoyed going to the Smallville universe and seeing like where Tom Welling's character ends up.
What a great send off for that character, though.
Yeah,
like living happily ever after.
The Kevin Conroy Batman sequence was really cool. It didn't end up being Kingdom Come Batman, but it was very much based on Kingdom Come Batman. And kind of a Batman that went rogue and started killing all of his villains. And the only other thing that really kind of turned me off was Lex Luthor was going from universe to universe killing Superman, which was on brand. But then when he gets to the Kingdom Come-ish universe, and we get the Superman and Superman fight, and I don't know, it was cool to see it, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, I'm throwing out gripes. I really loved every episode, and I loved how it ended.
Yeah.
Huge spoilers, but basically Andy Monitor wins,
right?
And they get sent to this other dimension, I guess. And Lex Luthor literally writes over the scroll over Superman with his name, and switches himself with Superman to be one of the Paragons.
Yeah.
So it ends with him kind of coming in and being like, so what do we do next? And
right.
It was interesting. The fact I thought I was behind when I got to 3.
Yeah.
And then I read up, like you said earlier, and the fact that we're not getting another one for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like, oh man, that's quite a wait.
They did like an Empire thing. They left on a bad note, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so
they definitely didn't win, so
good so far. I think we'll get the real meat of everything in the next 2 episodes, though.
Movie news: Shazam 2 has a release date April 1st, 2022, which is awesome. Good to hear.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's so far away, though.
Right, I know. The Flash, starring Ezra Miller, once thought to be a dead film, now has a release date of July 1st, 2022. Interesting.
Okay.
We'll see.
Like that movie went from fast track to changing everything to we got Grant Morrison to everybody's dropped out to Miller's contract's over, so fuck it, to hey, we got a release date, everybody.
We'll see. It might just be a placeholder. I doubt it. I mean, this movie's been talked about for 8 years.
Yeah, it's so strange.
Yeah. Another movie came out, like a short film. It was released on YouTube this weekend. If you've ever watched The Office, it's Threat Level Midnight, the movie that Michael Scott makes.
Is that really?
Yeah, they never really made the movie, but they released something which is 25 minutes on YouTube, and it is amazing.
That's fantastic.
It's like his version of James Bond, and the villain is Goldface, which is just like the Goldface of DC Comics. Yeah, so check that out. It's free on YouTube, and it's only about 25 minutes of your time. It's amazing. Yeah. I guess we'll jump into the comic book news. Stefan Sejic is teasing what next after Harleen. He's going to be working on a Poison Ivy series set in the Harleen universe titled Isley. So I sense a pattern here. Sounds like Harleen was a hit, so he's just jumping onto a new character, which is good for him. Yeah, good for him. I really enjoyed, have enjoyed Harleen, so yeah, good.
I'm down, check it out.
Jorge Jimenez has announced that he will be the next artist for Batman, starting with issue 90. Don't know who that is. I don't know what he's drawn, but
you do know who it is. Let me look him up real quick. But I'm really excited for this. Yes, he's the artist on Justice League right now.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it was. So, yeah, I'm really excited for this because I love Jimenez, and I think his art's been fantastic. So
he's really good then. Okay. Marvel is teasing its next earth-shattering event for 2020. Titled Empire, but Empire is spelled with a Y. It'll be a continuation of one shots incoming and outlaw.
Of the one shots incoming.
Continuation of the one shots incoming and outlaw. Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think?
I'll read it.
Yeah.
The only time we've seen Empire was, and to be fair, I looked this up. I didn't have previous knowledge of this, but it was in a prose novel about Nick Fury.
Oh.
And Empire was a airline.
That's weird.
So I don't think that's continuity.
Yeah, right.
It'll be interesting to see what this is, but like the Marvel 1000 thing was kind of a bust for me. Outside of the fact that the character that ends up at the end seems interesting, and that's what Incoming is going to be about, and then supposedly Outlaw. So it's really just a continuation of all this 80th anniversary of Marvel stuff. And I mean, if it's in either company big event, I'm going to read it, at least try it out.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. I want more information. It was a lot of was it CB Cebulski was very like witty with how he did it. Like he literally had a thing talking about everything that was going to happen, but went in and inserted like really abrupt redacted whenever he said something that we don't know about yet. So we'll see. I think the end of the month Incoming is coming out, and then Outlaw is not for a few more months after that. But so I'll probably have a bigger picture of what Empire is going to be after Incoming comes out.
Okay. Star Wars getting another ongoing title, Star Wars Bounty Hunters, of course, by Ethan Sachs, artists Paulo Villanelli. The series will follow Baylert Valance from the recent Target Vader series as he takes on a prized bounty, such as and we'll meet other bounty hunters like Boba Fett and Bosk along the way. So, yeah, if you're like a Mandalorian, this is the book for you, it sounds like.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it more later, but Target Vader is really great, and the character of Valiance is pretty cool. So, it's a Star Wars in the title.
Yeah.
On my pull list.
Chris is getting it. Michael and Laura Allred have a new title coming to Dark Horse titled X-Ray Robot. It follows a family man and a robot version of himself.
I'll check out anything Allred does.
Yeah, it sounds pretty interesting. Chris Samney is back. Samney and Robert Kirkman announced the new book at Image titled Firepower. Firepower is a martial arts starring a man who could shoot fire from his fist. So like Iron Fist, pretty much.
I was thinking, what was it, Kung Lao?
Oh, yeah, right.
But yeah.
Kung Pao, Enter the Fist. That one, yeah. Kung Lao is where Iron Fist trains, yeah.
Oh, what was the guy from Mortal Kombat?
Liu
Kang.
Liu Kang, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
you're getting your Kung Fu mixed up. Liu Kang, yeah.
I know 2 Kung Fu, and I can't get it right. So.
This sounds awesome, though.
Yeah.
I love Kung Fu.
Kirkman, that's a guy I'll check anything out by. Samney, that's another guy I'll check anything out by. So I don't care for Kung Fu one bit, as we could tell from the previous conversation.
Yeah.
But I'll at least give it an issue or two to see if it's something I could get into.
This is really cool. After the union on The Toys That Made Us, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird have announced a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic at IDW titled The Last Ronin. It'll be an Elseworld book set in the future. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and this is huge.
Yeah.
Those two haven't worked together in like 25 years. Like, right. This is big in the industry where people know about this blowout all across. And yeah, it's... I don't know what to say. Like that, we talked about it last week with the Toys That Made Us, and that moment was like very tearful. And the fact that they're back and they want to work together and they don't care about the beats from the past anymore. Mm-hmm. It's awesome.
Yeah, the fans are loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with that, let's jump into the books we read this week, huh?
Let's.
Pretty cool. Dark Knight makes a return. Dark Knight Returns, The Golden Child #1. Pretty crazy to see Frank Miller still working on this universe.
Yeah, what'd you think about it?
I thought it was interesting. I didn't expect like because the scope seemed to like follow just the. We've never seen. I don't know for the Dark Knight universe. We've never seen something otherworldly like Doomsday show up. So it was interesting to see that. Not Doomsday. I'm sorry, Darkseid. But I think we're following Jonathan Kent, right? And Carrie is taken over as Batman, has a secret bunker. Darkseid is trying to motivate Joker to get Trump elected. I didn't really care for that whole part of it. That was a little heavy-handed. I don't think it needed all that. It was interesting. I don't know. What did you think?
I think there was 2 comics in here.
Yeah.
Miller wanted to read or write.
Okay.
There's one about Jonathan Kent and his who he is in this universe, being the son of Superman and Wonder Woman.
Right.
And there's a story about how he hates Trump with all of his heart.
Yeah.
So the first story, the one about Jonathan Kent in this universe and how the new Batwoman, Batgirl, I don't know what we're calling her, is in this universe, I really enjoyed. I thought it felt like a Dark Knight story, and kind of increased the scope and showed like the next generation after these events. And I would love to follow that plot line a little bit further. The secondary story of Doomsday basically being Russia trying to convince Joker to like sway an election towards Trump was just like really off-putting and just kind of like heavy-handed.
Right.
Politics aside, it just was kind of like I get it. Like,
yeah,
I get it. You don't like Trump, but Batman.
Right. We get back to the whole Batman part of it.
So if you take those parts out of it, I really enjoyed it. But those moments inside of it, I thought were just like, you just wanted to write a Trump hate piece. I mean, go do that over here.
Right.
Tell the story you want to tell here. Yeah, because the story he wanted to tell here about the next generation in this universe, I thought is good, and I think we can expand upon.
Right.
And then like the whole thing with Darkseid, like basically being destroyed by his own Omega beams and then coming back as a new version of himself was just awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
So it was very much a love-hate relationship with this comic.
Wasn't that always an argument, like in the comic book shops, of like, what if the Omega beams hit Darkseid? What would happen? At least I've heard that brought up a few times.
Yeah, I don't know if that's ever happened before or not. Not being a big DC fan, but
right.
But yeah, I mean it's good. It's got its issues.
Right.
You could probably cut this down to a normal size comic and tell a great story. Just take out all the Trump shit.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wanted to catch up on, so I caught up on Unearthed number 5 by Cullen Bunn. This is the last issue in the story arc. I don't know if they're going to continue the story, but this could be a stopping point. Basically, the crew is still trapped in what they think are caves. They find out all these people that are being infected with like, these crazy body disfiguring happen. Like their faces are blowing up and stuff like balloons. They're running into the cave and becoming organs for this giant like creature. Some of the crew makes it out, and we find out that the general has bombed all the towns and everything, and I think he's about to bomb the caves. And what happens is like this giant monster breaks out, and that's how it ends. Like whatever's been like hibernating broke out of the mountain, and we'll see. It was pretty interesting. It was a lot like kind of like Alien vibes, because they're like trapped in a place with like weird alien beings, weird things happening. It was pretty cool. A lot of really disturbing art because of the way that people get disfigured when they become infected. Dollhouse Family number 2. This is the second book in that Joe Hill imprint at DC. which I think both those two books they have. There's this one and there's Basketball Heads are very strong stories. This is it's really good art. Peter Gross is doing the art, and the cover of it is like a creepy claymation on the cover, which is kind of off-putting. But so now we've got to the future. If everybody remembers me talking about the first issue, there's this magic dollhouse that a little girl is her mom is being beaten by the stepfather. So like the dollhouse pretty much like possesses her and she kills the stepfather. Well, the mom takes the blame for that and goes to jail. And she ends up in an orphanage, the little girl does. And she becomes a mute. She doesn't talk by pretty much her own choice. She's dealing with awful girls in the orphanage. Pretty much one of the bully girls tries to go into the house and says that like, go into the dollhouse because it sees the girl travel back into the magical dollhouse. And the dollhouse goes, I'm only looking for one family bloodline, like a specific bloodline, like eats the little girl and kills her. Which is great because she's kind of a bully in the whole issue. There's something going on in the story in the past. If you remember, it also follows two explorers that happen upon this weird cave where the guy, he has sex with this woman he finds in a cave, and she's like some ancient being. But what happens is he wakes up in the hospital because I think there was a collapse or a cave-in or something. He falls in love with the nurse at the hospital. They have a kid, and she's not supposed to have kids, which I don't know what that means if like something magical is happening there, but she has a kid and dies giving birth. Well, something creepy is happening there because when they go to like throw out the afterbirth, I know this is kind of gross, but it like crawls away, and then one of the servants is like, what the hell just happened? So there's something weird and creepy going on in the past. So I don't know if like this weird possessed, I don't know, afterbirth is going to be part of the dollhouse. We'll see, but it's pretty crazy. It's a good story though. I think both the stories are very strong. Obviously don't really know what's going on yet. Dark Multiverse, Judas Contract. That was a crazy issue. Did you read that?
I didn't get a chance to, no.
Anybody knows the Judas Contract? Pretty much Tara, who's part of the Teen Titans, kind of like betrays them, is like a double agent, and then Deathstroke betrays her. Well, this is the turnaround where she betrays Deathstroke before all that happens. So she kills him. She pretty much rips him apart using stones, and it's awesome. She gives herself a new name. I can't remember her name. So she basically becomes evil, and like she kills all the Teen Titans. Like she kills all of them, and then it's an awesome fight. Like she pretty much buries all of them. And then she's like fighting Dick Grayson and Wally West, and she kills them too. And they try to like hold her off till Superman gets there. And while she's fighting Superman, she's gathering up all the kryptonite and then kills him with all these like kryptonite shards. It's pretty crazy. And then she pretty much destroys the world, like releases the Earth's core. And that's like the end of it is like, yeah, the Tempest Fugonaut, the guy who's observing all the universe, is like, yeah, there's pretty much no reason to go to this universe. Like I thought. Because Dick Grayson, it all started because Dick Grayson went to her to try to kind of console her. He knew something was going on. He didn't know she was a double agent, but that just pretty much convinced her to turn the tide and kill Deathstroke instead of like becoming weak and being killed by Deathstroke. So solid issue, I think. The Year of the Villain, Ocean Master. Read that.
I didn't. I knew I missed something this week.
Yeah. Pretty solid issue. I don't know the whole storyline with Ocean Master and his child, but pretty much we find that like Ocean Master is such a strong. I mean, we see him exiled out of Atlantis. Why he breaks out, why he goes back to his girlfriend/wife and wants to be with the child, but he really can't. He offers to bring them back with him, but they obviously don't want to leave the land. But the end of the story basically revolves around like. Lex Luthor goes to him and is like, I was going to give you power, gave all the other villains, and we find out he gives powers to another villain, another like C-class villain for like comic book standards. But he's like, I didn't give you power because you're just focused on Atlantis and keeping the throne or something like that. And he pretty much says like, I'm strong enough, I don't need your power, and like. It will deal with you when the land or something hints at like maybe having another fight in the future with the land dwellers. So I thought it was an okay issue. Um, Batman, the White Knight, number 5.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome issue, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we get the aftermath of Jim Gordon dying, which is very sad and solemn, and they're trying to reunite everybody. We Bruce Wayne / Batman is starting to uncover the whole history of the start of Gotham, and like how there was a reservoir before it was, the city and all this stuff, and there was all these two families, and like the family Saint Dumas, and then there's the Wayne family, or is it the Wayne family? Yeah, but there's something else going on with the history that the Joker knows, and so Batman sends Harley Quinn in with the 2 children to try to get Jack Napier out of the Joker, and the Joker's like, "Oh, you're stupid. He's not coming back." Well, he does come back. He tells her the secret, tells her not to tell it to Batman because it'll ruin him, basically. Meanwhile, what's his name? Azrael is trying to cook up a deal with is that Amanda Waller, I'm guessing?
I'm not sure who that is. I know we've seen her before, but
it looks like Amanda Waller, but he's basically making a deal with someone to like get rid of to get Jack Napier out of the way and then get rid of Batman, or get rid of Commissioner Gordon. So she doesn't have a need for him, so she pretty much like pits him up against Bane, and at the end of the fight, which is freaking awesome, he like beheads Bane. He like cuts his head off, which was so cool to see. It was a pretty cool fight scene. But yeah, so there's an awesome panel of like Bane getting his head sliced off, and so I mean, we'll see. I want to know what the secret is. They keep teasing us.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I won't get that till like issue 7.
Yeah, probably.
But, yeah, and then we get John Paul in the Batman outfit at the end, and he's just like, slaughtering villains.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy too.
Yeah, so yeah, this universe has been fantastic. I really love this issue.
But that's all I had this week.
Okay. Issue 10 of Wonder Twins. This was all about the Wonder Twins going and saving their friend, I forget her first name now, but something Math, her father, and everyone's stuck in the Phantom Zone. And meanwhile, the two idiots that got the computer with the rogue AI on it teach it what the internet is.
Oh no!
And it takes over the world.
Of course, it does.
Pretty good issue. It was definitely one of those issues to get you to a point for the next issue, but they're kind of their sequence of finding how they find the cell phone made out of kryptonite, and then how they open up the Phantom Zone for everybody was really cool. Captain America number 17. Spoiler, it sucked.
Oh man.
Annihilation Scourge Silver Surfer. So this is like taking place right after Silver Surfer Black. And it's Silver Surfer is out in space, contemplating what happened to him with Null and the symbiotes, and a rift opens up and people from the Negative Zone come out, but they're all dead. And he finds one survivor, merges with them, and figures out what happened. Realizes he has to go to the Negative Zone and try to save everybody. Runs into a bunch of the Revengers, ends up killing them all.
Nice.
But the big thing here is at the end he meets up with Robert. What the hell's his last name? This is great. Bob Reynolds, the guy who hosts the Century, and finds out that he was told by Reed Richards to come to the Negative Zone because it might help him dispel of the Void. But in the process, he not only dispelled the Void, but dispelled himself of the Century as well.
Oh.
So Silver Surfer merged with him because, as he said, they were two halves of a person. So forming together, they might be able to help fight the Century. I am absolutely loving this Annihilation crossover. And speaking of which, I'll just jump to Annihilation Scourge Beta Ray Bill, which has Beta Ray Bill and Lockjaw fighting a giant space dragon to save a planet.
Nice.
When a tear opens up and things from the negative zone come in. And the only way for Beta Ray Bill to push back the Revenger that comes out, and the Revenger in this case is Doctor Strange, was to throw him through with his hammer, which then, much like Thor, he no longer has his abilities. But unlike Thor, he's just a normal alien, but person after that. And him and Lockjaw have to go into the negative zone to find the hammer in order to take the fight to them. So all 4 of these issues are really great one-shot stories. You don't need to read them in any particular order. The only thing you need to read first was Omega. And that was the last one until I think next week we get the finale where all 4 are going to team up. But really enjoying this Annihilation crossover.
Cool.
Speaking of crossovers, Doom 2099. So the 2099 story altogether, I haven't really been digging. I think I talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago, where it's just been kind of really weird, and they're making it so the futures change, so it's not the 2099 we know. Well, in this one, it's kind of a cool story of Doom and Reed Richards get into a fight and are sent to the future. And so we meet a character who we believe is Doom, and he finds a way to create a new set of armor and heads to Latveria. When he gets there, he meets up with Doom and fights him and finds out that he's not actually the real Doom, and that there's actually been multiple people coming through thinking that they're Doom with basic ideas of delusion, that multiple personalities or whatever. And then the way it ends, the real Doom ends up defeating the one we've been following. And when we see his body, he's all stretched out like Mr. Fantastic. So it was kind of an interesting twist, where I almost think that when they went through the time portal, they like merged somehow. But it was very interesting. I actually really enjoyed this issue.
Cool.
Star Wars Target Vader number 6. This is the last issue in that series we talked about earlier. This was Valance getting his revenge and helping his people. So he finds the hidden hand and is able to basically send Vader after them. And they're the ones that called the hit on Vader to begin with. And in return, he gets a big payout and ends up being able to save his people and send them to a new planet. So I really enjoyed this series. I thought it was a lot of fun. And what's his name at the end gets what's coming to him. I forget. One of the bounty hunters who was traitor. What do we got here? That piece of shit comic. Superman 18. This is the big one where Superman reveals he's Clark Kent to everybody. Didn't care for it too much. There were some good moments with him and Perry White and him and Jimmy Olsen, because he wanted to go to the people he cared about first and then reveal himself to the world. But all in all, the whole reveal at the end of him discussing why he had a secret identity and why he doesn't need one moving forward was, I don't know, it kind of laid flat for me. The only moment I really did enjoy was at the end. It showed Luthor and the Legion of Supervillains sitting around watching this whole press conference when he's talking about it, and they all look at Luthor and just like, how the fuck didn't you know that? But we'll see where it leads for future storylines. And then Undiscovered Country number 2.
Yeah.
So we got all the characters with Uncle Sam, and Uncle Sam tells them they have to go through this spiral through America to get to their goal. But his goal doesn't really match up with their goal, where they're trying to figure out who sent the message for them to come to America so they can get the cure to the sky flu. But he wants them to save America. Meanwhile, they find out that they have to get a key from the people that were hunting them in the first issue. And through a bunch of events, decided to do it. And the last sequence in the book is them trying to get to this like moving city and climb aboard. And we kind of find out that one of the people on their team is actually a traitor.
Ah, damn it.
Or so we think.
Of course.
So, and then the only other thing I read was Immortal Hulk Volume 3, which was the Immortal Hulk Goes to Hell story. Of all the Immortal Hulk stuff, it was definitely the weakest. The first 2 volumes are really good. They do a lot of cool things in them. And this one was kind of Hulk with daddy issues.
Everybody's favorite Hulk.
Yeah. So, I mean, there were some interesting things that happened in here with basically the door to hell is the green door that's opened up by Gamma. And we kind of figure out that all the people that were affected by gamma radiation can't be killed, which kind of ties into what's going on in Captain America, because Thunderbolt Ross was killed in Captain America. But if he was affected by gamma and can't be killed, then he's alive?
Makes sense.
Question mark?
Science checks out.
So it was good, but not as good as the first 2 volumes. Still gonna keep reading all the volumes through Immortal Hulk, really enjoying it. And the next on my list is gonna be Lock and Key. So I got through like 2 issues of it, and I'll say the first 2 issues are kind of slow. But interesting in what they're doing. So
it picks up.
Yeah, we'll see how it. I'll judge it as a whole as opposed to just 2 single issues.
Right.
Just because I've always been interested in this book, I don't want to give up on it in 2 issues and miss out on something. So
makes sense.
That's all I got, Mike. Where can we find you on the internet?
They can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show, Chris?
Well, they can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter. And you can find the show at fortresscomicnews.com, where everything we do is right there on that handy-dandy website. Remember, if you're listening to us, 5-star reviews on whatever podcatcher you use. And if you're watching us, do like, subscribe, share. And if you are so inclined, check out the Bat Friends podcasts. And you can get merch from Bat Friends and other podcasts related to us at enjoyyourfrozendick.com. Yes.
Nice.
Enjoyyourfrozendick.com. If you're a Bat Friends fan, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so that's all we got for this week. And y'all have a good one.
See ya. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
Who?
SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants. Now you gotta play the nose flute. Play the nose flute.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Best Christmas ever.